Hi everyone, I'm Nicholas Wiesenthal and I'm a PhD student in the Cooper Biology Education Research Lab at Arizona State University. And I'm excited today to talk to you about our research that looks at the effect of research and teaching on depression in life sciences PhD students. Depression is a mood disorder that is characterized by symptoms such as depressed mood, diminished pleasure in activities, reduced ability to think or concentrate, feelings of worthlessness, or loss of energy. In 2018, researchers found that graduate students were more than 6 times as likely to report experiencing depression compared to the general population and declared a graduate student mental health crisis. Calls to identify what factors exacerbate graduate student mental health problems followed. However, few studies have identified what specific aspects of graduate school affect depression. In this study, we set out to address this gap in the literature by identifying aspects of graduate research and teaching that affect PhD student depression, and we contextualized our study within life sciences PhD programs. To answer our research question, we interviewed 50 life sciences PhD students with depression from 20 institutions across the US. In the interviews, we asked students what aspects of teaching and researching alleviated and exacerbated their depression. And we used open coding methods to identify common themes that emerged from student interviews. So with that being said, we found that student research and teaching affect depression differently. Students more commonly reported research-related factors that negatively affected their depression, while with teaching, students more commonly reported factors that positively affected their depression. And we also identified 4 overarching factors that affect depression in life sciences PhD students. Students reported that the lack of structure in research often worsened their depression, with student 34 showing this by stating, "My depression is not enjoyed or been spared by the fact that research is self-directed. Finding the equipment, finding the questions, finding the method rests on me." While with teaching, students found its structured nature to be beneficial for their depression, and student 27 illustrated this by stating, "Sometimes having concrete tasks does help my depression. With research, you never have deadlines or things that get accomplished or finished, or at least with teaching, you can sit down, you can grade for 3 hours, so you can do things." PhD students also highlighted that positive reinforcement had a protective effect on their depression, whereas negative reinforcement often worsened their depression. And students most commonly reported receiving negative reinforcement in research, with student 7 showing this by stating, "You say something stupid and your PI says how stupid that is. That just makes me think I'm an idiot and I can't do it." However, students in teaching experience more positive reinforcement, which can be beneficial for their depression. And student 5 illustrated this by stating, "Interacting with my undergraduates and feeling like I made a difference for them helps my depression. Even if it was just something as simple as them saying like, I did better on this exam after we went over material together." And specifically in the context of research, failure had a negative impact on student depression. And student 20 showed this by stating, "Everything just fails, and you have 0 positive results. That was one of the worst things for my depression." However, successes such as publishing a paper or successfully acquiring experimental data can help alleviate student depression. And student 46 demonstrated this by stating, "I will say, something that helps my depression is when you're working really hard on the experiment, on the goal, and you finally get good data. This makes all of my effort worth it." And finally, we found PhD students often felt isolated in research, which exacerbated their depression, with student 8 showing this by stating, "Doing research is very isolating because not many people go for PhDs, so I can't talk to my friends about research struggles." And also, student 20 demonstrated this by stating, "When it comes to research, it's quite lonely. Everyone has their own worries, and all you're stressing about is your own thing." And we also found that social support in the form of collaborating with others on research or forming relationships when teaching helps student depression. And student 16 demonstrated this by stating, "Teaching was really helpful for my depression because I made friends with the other TAs, especially during my first year as a TA when we were all new to our program." And student 43 showed this by stating, "Working collaboratively with other students and working consistently with faculty helps a lot with my depression." So in summary, we found 4 overarching factors affecting PhD student depression in life sciences: structure, positive and negative reinforcement, success and failure, and social support and isolation. And with that being said, I'd like to thank and acknowledge my PI, Caitlin Cooper, as well as the other researchers on this project, PhD student Logan Jin, and undergraduate student Isabel Ferreira. And I'd also like to thank and acknowledge the Cooper Biology Education Research Lab, as well as the 50 life sciences PhD students who generously shared their thoughts with us. And with that, I will take any questions they may have via email, and if you're interested in reading our paper once it has been published, I'm more than happy to send that your way via email as well. Thank you for your time, and thank you for coming to my presentation today.